Mid-state schools.
It would be a crime for this board to, at any point, close that school.
All new and right now, why some people say saving your tax dollars comes at too high of a cost.
Plus, the survey shows your opinions are changing.
It makes me uncomfortable.
How it may affect laws on guns and gambling. It's a story you'll only see here.
And we just started painting. I didn't have any idea where I was going or nothing. We just started painting, you know.
The artist with Southern rock roots behind one of Macon's iconic murals, its history, rebirth, and the comeback of Capricorn Studios.
WGXA News on Fox 24.
Breaking news happening right now in Bibb County. Right now, a lane of Interstate 475 South is closed near Zebulon Road. Deputies say a tractor trailer and a car collided. The driver of the car went to the hospital with injuries. Investigators are trying to figure out how that accident happened. Good evening and thanks for watching WGXA News at 10. I'm Amir Jacobson.
And I'm Raymond Tubb. Well, new tonight, several Bibb County schools may close or consolidate. It's all part of a plan to try to save you money.
Right now, WGXA's Shannon Lilly is live outside of L.H. Williams Elementary to tell you how that school could be impacted. Shannon.
Yeah, Raymond and Amir, the school behind me, L.H. Williams Elementary School, is one of several schools costing you more money due to low enrollment. Now, this evening in a Bibb County Board of Education meeting, board members discussed the possibility of consolidating this school as well as several others in order to save you some cash. But some neighbors and people that are from the Pleasant Hill neighborhood say that saving you some extra money just isn't worth it.
It would be a crime for this board to, at any point, close that school.
L.H. Williams Elementary. It stands as a staple in the Pleasant Hill neighborhood, according to community activist George Muhammad.
It's a very important place, and it's a place we cannot afford to lose.
He's one of the many who signed a petition to keep the school from closing. But in a Bibb County Board of Education work session Thursday evening, board members discussed the possibility of consolidation.
Being a school board member, we have to recognize that less students means that we need to provide less building space.
Board member Lester Miller says Bibb County schools have lower enrollment, in part due to charter schools. In fact, in 2022, the district is projected to have 91 more elementary school classrooms than needed. That means if no schools are consolidated, Miller says you can expect your taxes to increase to pay for empty rooms.
We have some schools that are, almost half empty, and we still have to pay utility bills for a full school.
But consolidation would help save the district money.
The minimal you would save is about $500,000 to $750,000 just from consolidating that one school.
Superintendent Dr. Curtis Jones says schools like L.H. Williams, Riley, and Brookdale Elementary have too much empty space.
The schools are operating at about 70% of their classrooms or less. Then we need to look at that facility. Not necessarily to take action, but we need to be aware and consciously decide not to do something else with it.
Still, Muhammad says closing L.H. Williams Elementary would be detrimental, not only for the students, but for the entire Pleasant Hills community.
They don't know the value of what L.H. Williams is. And when you know the value of a place where children can walk to school, not be bused, but they can walk to school, it's their own neighborhood.
Dr. Curtis Jones says that he will present a recommendation to the board in December and possibly make a decision in January. Now, if they do decide to consolidate this school and others, we could start seeing those changes as early as fall 2018. For now, reporting live in Macon, Shannon Lilly, WGXA News.
New tonight, we're taking a closer look at prior Bibb County school consolidations. In the last 5 years, facilities planned Bloomfield Middle School being turned into Southfield Elementary. Barden and Morgan Elementary schools also closed and were rebuilt as Veterans Elementary. Students at Brigard and Rice Elementary also moved to Southfield. Finally, the new Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Elementary replaced Jones and King Danforth Elementary. New tonight, how do you feel about medical marijuana, gambling in Georgia, guns on campus, or even public education?
Well, a new poll from the local college shows some opinions are changing on those topics. WGXA's Evan Watson joins us live in studio with those results. Evan.
These are some of the results from an annual Georgia College and State University poll released today. For example, 55% of the 100 surveyed say they're not happy with public education, and they say they would happily invest more of their own money to see it improve. The poll says 58% of Georgians support casino gambling in the state, and only 30% oppose it. Even though it's now law, 61% say they strongly oppose allowing college students to carry guns on campus. And one statistic with potential major policy implications, 77% of Georgians surveyed say they support legalizing medical marijuana.
You know, they've shown like how much it's helped veterans, like with PTSD, people with chronic pain. Certainly better than, you know, prescription painkillers that are obviously causing a huge problem today in Middle Georgia especially.
This poll surveyed 494 adults in Georgia by phone. Education was listed as the most important issue for Georgians, followed by the economy. One more statistic for you. Half of all the people surveyed say they support legalizing same-sex marriage. Those just some of the different changes in opinions from year to year in these polls. Live in studio, Evan Watson for WGXA News.
And good evening, everyone. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jeff Cox. A dreary day for Middle Georgia. The rain tapering off tonight, and by tomorrow morning, I think we'll be waking up to some sunshine. Live on the Wilson Bryant Heating and Air Skycast Network. Much different than a few hours ago. The roads are drying up. All of the rain is gone. Still cool, though. Temperature barely 50 degrees. At least there's no wind, so it actually feels like 50 degrees. The rest of Middle Georgia, well, not as warm. You're starting to see the 40s take over. Look at Gray. It's 46. The same in Eatonton. 49 up I-75 in Forsyth. It's also 49 in Perry. The rest of Middle Georgia still in the 50s, but I think we all make it into the 40s by tomorrow morning. Here's my school day forecast for Friday, and there you have it at the bus stop, the low 40s with a clear sky. We're up to the low 60s by lunchtime and into the mid 60s for the ride home. Tomorrow will be a day filled with sunshine and warmer weather as a result. If you are a fan of the warmer weather, you better soak it up tomorrow because the weekend, it will be far from warm. I'm tracking an Arctic blast headed our way. Just how low we go and for how long, that's coming up before the end of this half hour. Amir?
Thanks, Jeff. New at 10, you're having a say in which improvements will be made to Dolores Brooks Recreation Center in Macon. The Macon-Bibb County Park and Rec Department held a forum tonight at Rosa Jackson Community Center. Some neighbors there say they're concerned about the location on Okmulgee East Boulevard because it tends to flood. Cherise Scott Carson wants to make sure the center gets utilized.
Well, it's very important because if we don't speak up, nothing is actually going to happen. There's no change to be made. We as a community has to come out and get together and stand together so that way we can have improvements and have things to be done.
Possible improvements include adding a concession area. Next, Macon-Bibb County commissioners would have to approve the plan and SPLOST to pay for it.
Well, today, people enjoyed Central High School's annual Veterans Day performance. Students honored people who served with music and dance performances. Each branch of the military was dedicated with a special salute. Faculty at Central High and Macon say that it's important for the students to know what the military does for our nation.
I think it's important that we acknowledge and let the people know that we appreciate what they do to protect our country, but also that we educate our students on the importance of the armed forces and how that infrastructure is important in our economy and our society.
This year marked the third annual Veterans Day performance for Central High School. Well, getting your kids or grandkids out on their own starts long before they ever hit high school.
Then we're actually kind of shortchanging ourselves.
How you can raise more financially educated children. That's next at 10 in a special report. Plus, one young girl's story of hope of finding her forever home.
The breakout season cut short for one college football star. Coming up later in sports, I'll tell you why Stratford alum Quintez Cephas won't be back on the field for the rest of the season. Stay with us.
iPhone users may have noticed something strange happening with their keyboards lately, but it's not just your phone. It's a bug with the new iOS 11 operating system. It autocorrects the lowercase I to a capital A and a question mark symbol. Tech experts say that Apple is releasing a new update to fix the error, and glitches like this can happen when new software is rolled out.
Updates, there's always going to be some bugs, glitches, and especially they always have a timeline they want to release these updates on. And sometimes the timelines don't really match up with when it's ready. So they'll send them out even though they're not quite ready, even though they say they are, and they'll send patches out as needed.
Until you can download the update with the fix, we have a step-by-step guide on how to manually work around the glitch on our website, WGXA.tv.
Current time is 10:12. Live look in Warner Robins on the SkyCast network. Drying out there in Houston County as well. Current number 50 degrees with just a calm wind tonight. So pretty similar to what we've got going on in Macon this evening. Want to switch gears and talk about the rain that came through today as it's tapered off tonight. We've been looking at the latest rain totals, and some of the rain has fallen in some great much needed places. The new drought map released today, and it shows 21% of Georgia in some form of drought. That's up from 17% a week ago. The areas to focus on, the yellow shading. If you're northeast of Macon or southwest of Macon, you're in some areas that are deemed abnormally dry. So now what we do is examine the rain totals and look at where they fell and pay attention again to the yellow shading. Eatonton, you're abnormally dry. You've got an inch of rain today. Cordell, almost an inch of rain, and Sandersville, 3/4 of an inch of rain. So the rain certainly fell in the places it needed to. Our winner today, Butler, also Sparta at around 1.25 inches this afternoon. All right, coming up in just a few minutes, we're talking about that Arctic blast coming our way, when it gets here, and just how cold we're going to get and for how long. That plus your 7-day, it's straight ahead.
According to the United States Census Bureau, 1 in 3 young people, or about 24 million 18 to 34-year-olds, still lived with their parents at home in 2015.
All new at 10, WGXA's Emily Swecker explores ways to help prepare your children to be financially stable.
When children are young, college and cars may be the last thing on a parent's mind, but not planning ahead can set your child up for failure, at least financially, according to one local financial advisor.
One of the things that we as parents can impart to our children are a good sense of, responsibility and options when we think about money, because if we always deal with it from an emotional standpoint and not from a tools and resource standpoint, then we're actually kind of shortchanging ourselves.
Pauline Giffen with Beal Financial says it's never too soon to start preparing for your child's future.
Some ways might be to open up a savings account for the child and actually let them see it grow. Let them see it earn interest. Let them, put some of their allowance into it while spending some of their allowance. Figuring out what that balance looks like.
Stephen is only 2 now, but his mom, Stephanie Clemens, started saving for him before he was even born.
To save for college or braces or car.
And while teenage years seem far off for Stephen, Clemens wants to be prepared when the time comes.
When they're in school, high school age, that last year of senior is very expensive. With graduating expenses, you can't save any money during that time, and it's right before college.
While savings accounts are popular, parents can open up a 529 or Coverdell education account, which both encourage saving for future college costs, or a uniform gift to minors account, which can be used to cover any future financial obligations. They can all be beneficial as long as the child understands the purpose for saving.
You need to help your children think through what that money is for, whether it's to help buy their first car, whether it's to help pay for their education, whether it's to help them start a business.
While money will help with financial burdens as a child matures, it's the knowledge of how to save and when to spend that will last.
That conversation, that thought process is going to be the greatest gift we can give our children, because they have to start thinking for themselves, and then we can help mold those thoughts and into healthy decision-making processes for our kids.
Giffen says a good rule of thumb is to teach your children to have enough money saved for at least 3 months of groceries, rent, and utilities in case they have an emergency.
The surprise of a lifetime for a child after years of being in limbo.
And that you will always have someone to love you.
see the viral video that changed this 11-year-old girl's life.